policy ideation, policy dialogue, and policy advocacy led by young people. Just to give you a quick overview of what Policy Shapers is like before we go deep into it. We launched August 12th, 2020. Our community has currently over 600 plus people whom we're working on through several means. Our first project was the Reform IELTS campaign, which is still ongoing. And then we've also now started to work on the Naija Policy Hackathon. So we have people in these various pockets of projects working with us. Our unique idea is that if you bring policy, tech, and young people together, you'd see unique change. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do, putting everyone together. Our strategy is to be open source, because we do believe that for change to happen, change needs to be dynamic, it needs to be evidence-led. And for those of us who joined the Policy Saturday classes, you'll see that the facilitators stressed a whole lot around being data-driven and ensuring that everything you're working on has data to back it up. The tools that we use for our work: policy memos, policy petitions, research reports, TikTok, Twitter, Zoom, Slack, WhatsApp, all of the technology tools that we all have at our disposal. Our vision again is to raise a new generation of policymakers. So people who would have this mantra of being data-driven and ensuring that they actually do drive change the way it's supposed to be driven. Just a quick overview of our work before we talk about the hackathon and all the important information. We launched our website in 2020, which was designed by the Policy Shapers team. It's not something we're very proud of, but we think it was a good try in putting that together. We're currently reworking that website, to make it a lot more professional. But I mean, we started that out, and despite how wonky it looks and how we're still trying to work around it, we've had over 50,000 visitors in just over a year who have visited the platform. We so far have participated in close to 3 global policy hackathons. We emerged third, that's the Policy Shapers team, emerged third at the Stanford Open Datathon, and that was in 2021, where we did a policy ideation around how open data can drive change in virtual universities. We've hosted policy dialogues at the Creative Commons Global Summit, and then UNESCO also invited us to the OER Camp Global. I think that's Open Education Resources Camp, where again we spoke about our ideation KDOLs and grants and in-kind supports, but we're still a startup, so everything is still at the basic level, and so we're trying to grow up from the ground. I think what would be interesting here before I move to the next slide is that we've worked with quite an array of partners. We do have 3 partners who are working with us for this policy hackathon. Those who were in the WhatsApp group must have seen that Accountability Lab, Change.org, and Civic Hive are 3 of the partners who are collaborating with us to put today's hackathon together. I think that's what we're most famous for. We would the Reform IELTS campaign, which some of you might have seen. We started the campaign sometime last year, and it's grown to the point where we have campaigners all over the world really pushing and driving change, engaging several universities. As we continue to engage the UK government, we've been in communication with the UK government since October 2021, and we're trying to see how we can work together, of course, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to bring change on this particular issue. Our team is quite young. I think our average age, even though it's increasing now, but average age should be somewhere around 25 or 26 or something like that. We have very young people. We're all working together to see how we can drive change through policy ideation and ensuring that we see how young people can become more engaged in the process of policy making. My experience up to 40 plus years combined. Education really has been all over the place, from like University of Calabar to Harvard to Seton Hall University, etc. And we're also quite affiliated with several organizations, whether it's policy think tanks like the World Economic Forum or the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Atlantic Council, to mention a few. So let's go into the hackathon now. Okay, so the goal of the hackathon, the Naija Policy Hackathon, like I said, has been on for the ideation for it has been on for quite a while. We've been dreaming of this day, and we're happy that we're all here together to witness it. The central goal is to give young people a platform to set the agenda for the 2023 general elections. We believe that the 2023 election should not be like every other election, but that for the elections to be meaningful, they need to be issue-based. And we need to ensure that the actual issues that concern us, the young population, need to take center stage. So issues like education and unemployment and all those issues that form the respective tracks, which we'll talk about, should be those issues. And we're now even taking it a step further to say, beyond just saying these are the issues, what are the solutions? So we're saying if, for example, if Prince or any of us are the policymaker, imagine you're the president, what would you do about ASU strikes? How would you make sure that for the past 16 years we've been having strikes? How do you stop it? What's the permanent solution to that? And how can that be couched in a 1,000-word policy brief, right? So that's part of what we're trying to do through this hackathon, and we believe that if we all do this, we'll be able to shift the conversation beyond just being very sentimental, as we can see online, from I'm with this guy, I'm with that guy, I'm with this party, I'm with that party, to actually be what are the issues, what are the challenges that the country is passing through, and how can we respond to those challenges. So we also didn't want the hackathon to be a one-off thing, because we see a lot of one-off events. We actually did start with a series of events pre the hackathon, and would have a series of events post the hackathon. So for those of us who have been following policy shapers, you must have seen that we did have a survey, a national survey on youth development issues, which we shared online. I think we had close to 300 plus responses. And then the key issues that people selected were then those issues that made up the tracks for the hackathon. We also did have policy Saturday classes. The organizing team put together these classes on several issues. I'll talk about that shortly. Now we're having the policy hackathon for the 48 hours. After the hackathon, we'll have a hackathon compendium, which will put together all the policy ideas, of course, sharing the results from the survey. And then we'll begin to start advocacy engagement from September when the campaigns begin, either with key candidates or with key stakeholders whom we would all identify as people who can make change on the various policy ideas that the respective teams have. Yeah, so Policy Saturday, the idea was to ensure that people are ready for the hackathon. You might not have seen this. We would share the links to the YouTube playlist on WhatsApp and also via email. But there were four classes for the 4 Saturdays in July. We had the first class, the policy shapers team spoke about our experiences. We participated in 3 global hackathons at Harvard and MIT and Stanford. And so we just spoke about our experiences of how to form your team, how to find out your team's strengths and how to work around all those things. The second class, Charles and Donatus, members of the organizing team, spoke about the mechanics of writing a policy brief and what you should consider when putting that brief together. Adewumi and Oyin, again, members of the team, spoke about developing policy recommendations and spoke about things like theory of change, etc. And in the final class, Daniel and Ayomide spoke about the art of policy advocacy. So all of these things kind of like just take you through if you're doing a policy process from writing all the way to advocacy. How do you start with the idea and then go all the way down to advocacy for the idea? So we're going to share the links. I'm sure this evening will be a good time to just review those. We will also share the links to the slides, just so you can have a look at them as well if you don't want to watch the videos, so that you can begin to prepare yourself to write your policy brief. Some important sessions. So we'll be coming together about 6 times, apart from this one, five times throughout this 48 hours. We're currently together for the welcome session, which we hope should be 6 to about 7-ish. The keynote address will be delivered almost immediately after this session by Dr. Tayo Ajiloju, who is the Chief Operating Officer at the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. That's something you definitely don't want to miss. So those are the 2 sessions for today. For tomorrow, we have 3 sessions, the morning, afternoon, and evening sessions. We tried our best to ensure that we don't have too many sessions, because we participated in hackathons and we see that if you have a lot of sessions, it then makes people not have enough time to write their policy ideas. So there are just 3 sessions tomorrow. The morning session will be taken by Ode Friday, who is the country director for Accountability Lab here in Nigeria. The afternoon session will be taken by Wale Ajiboye, who is the country director for change.org here in Nigeria. And the evening session will be taken by Cynthia Mbamalu, who is program director and co-founder at Yaga Africa. So like these are people who are already working, who are young people who are working in policy development, driving policy change. In fact, Cynthia will talk about the Not Too Young to Run story and how that even became from policy idea to law. So we're using this same link for all of those sessions. It's a repetitive link. So do well to join all those sessions, because beyond just writing your idea, we also hope that the 48 hours will be a good chance for us to learn, because I'm also looking forward to learning from all those people and also taking back something that we can use to grow as individuals. So as you might know, I mean, you should know this already, but the hackathon has 4 tracks. We're looking at the first track, education and ASU strikes. What is the sustainable solution to the education sector? How do we ensure that basic tertiary education is well funded? Where should the funding come from? Who should fund it? All of these things, all of the questions are put together in the guidebook, which we will share shortly, immediately after the keynote address, so you can start the hacking. The second track is unemployment and underemployment. What are the solutions to the challenge of unemployment? How do we respond to unemployment? You know, is there a solution out of it? Nigeria's, as at 2020, Nigeria's unemployment rate is at 33%. Youth unemployment is somewhere at 56 or 55%. So there's still a whole lot more that we have to do as a country. The third track is police brutality and insecurity. How do we address the myriad of insecurity challenges in the country today, in the north, in the south, in the west, everywhere? You know, what would be a sustainable solution to that? And the fourth track is agriculture and food security. You know, Nigeria does have a huge deficit, you know, on meeting and feeding our population. So our population continues to grow. We do need to have a sustainable solution to ensuring that we're able to feed ourselves first. So the point is, imagine that you're a policymaker, and how would you develop ideas to respond to issues in these respective tracks? And like I said, we'll share a more detailed guide of these tracks and what questions you should consider when putting together a policy brief. So what would the policy brief look like? Because the policy brief is what you would submit on Sunday at 2 p.m., you know, when the hackathon hacking comes to an end. So what would that policy brief look like? It would be around 2 to 3 pages, but should not be more than 1,000 words in total, right? And we're hoping, we'll share again, we're not sharing this yet because we want to give a breakdown before we share all of this, but we're going to share the formats for the brief. It's going to be a Word document with all of these headings, but it's going to have the executive summary, it will have the context and analysis, where we're hoping that you'll be able to do some data visualization. I mean, I'm sure some of us here should be good with Canva and the likes. Even if you're not good with Canva, in the Policy Saturday classes, I'm sure Donatus and Charles spoke about ways you can do data analysis and everything. So we're hoping that you're able to give us an idea on how you respond to one of these issues in your track, and give data to back your solutions. You can take inferences from other countries, case studies from Europe and other African countries who have done something similar, who you think we can replicate here in the country. So feel free to open your mind wide, but don't forget that it should be more than 1,000 words. That's one of the criteria for ensuring that your policy brief is reviewed. We're going to have judges. Policy shapers, we don't want it to be, because we're the organizers and we don't want to be the referee, right? So we're getting judges to review. So there are going to be 2 levels of judges. The first level of judges, experts who are currently working in the field, who will review the first submissions and select the top 10. And then the top 10 teams will then present their policy ideas, policy memos, their presentation to these people who are on the screen, who are already experts in the field, who have decades of experience. Olusegun Onigbide, as you guys know, one of the co-founders of Budget, is the global director of the organization now, which is now a global organization. Bella and UDBC works with the US mission here in Nigeria, and of course has extensive experience working with the Not Too Young to Run movement and Yaga and all of the youth movements across the country. You guys know Hamzi already. Hamzat Lawal is the CEO of Code, Connected Development. For those who work in the environment and climate change space, you should also know Jennifer Uchedu, who's one of the leaders, the founder of Source to Vibes, and Namdi Fechi Fred, who works with Steers Business. And again, would look out for all of your data, your data analysis, and ensuring that your data is on point. So all policy briefs have to be submitted by 2 p.m. on Sunday. That's a hard and fast deadline. there's no sorry, there's no we know, because it's a competition in the end, right? And there will be prizes won. So we don't want a situation where we're being unfair to certain people. So ensure that in all you do between today and Sunday, 2 p.m., your policy brief is ready. Hackathon prizes. So first, I mean, we did a very extensive budget to try to ensure that we cover the hackathon to the best of our ability. We haven't been able to get as much support as we're supposed to get. Most of the funding, of course, had come from us, the organizing team, Post-Hackathon team, etc., which is often the case when you're starting something out. And I'm sure that for subsequent hackathons, we'll be able to get, when we have a strong proof of concept, we'll be able to get a lot more support. But for this year, this is the prizes that we have. The first prize, we get 100,000 naira. Second prize is 50,000 naira, and the third prize is 30,000 naira. However, beyond the money, which we think is the least, the most important thing is that the policy shapers thing will work with you and with our extensive network across the World Economic Forum and Nigerian Economic Summit Group to further develop on your ideas and build advocacy campaigns around them, which we think you can even monetize, because that's even bigger. So seeing how far we've been able to push our Reform IELTS campaign, we hope that if you have an idea for ASU strikes, have an idea for agriculture, have an idea for police brutality, etc., we'll be able to work with you and design advocacy campaigns that will push all of these ideas to the point where they are all implemented. And I think that's even way bigger than any amount that we can give to you. And yeah, I mean, just to build on that, our post-hackathon engagement plan is that we'll go beyond this. So we'll have a compendium first, but we're also hoping that all the policy ideas that will come from this hackathon will be published on our website, our new improved website that we're working on. And that would also begin to design policy advocacy campaigns around these issues, and begin to work with you, the respective teams who are passionate about these issues, to drive change on them, and see that these issues are addressed by the respective stakeholders. Also, good to note that we would have certificates of participation to all participants, and also to the top 10 people who the top 10 teams rather who emerge at the hackathon. So feel free to know that all of that is going to be covered. However, I just want to note that ensure that teams are able to submit their respective team names and team members by 8 p.m. tomorrow, so that at least we know who is working with us for this weekend, and ensure that your team members are all working with you towards a common goal. At this point, I don't know if the organizing team members are here, and I'd just love for them to, so it's 6:26, and I'd love for them to quickly just say one thing each or two things each, just quickly, so you can hear their voices. So it's not just me you're hearing. So I'd love to start with the policy shapers team, the core team. If Kenny is here, Comfort is here, please feel free to just say something so people can hear your voices. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. And let me say a big welcome to every one of you. It was just like yesterday when we started, or we participated rather in our first policy session. But I would say that is a learning experience, not only for you guys, but also for us, the organizing team. But one thing I would love to lay more emphasis on is the mentorship session. So if you check the schedule, there's a session where you can interact with mentors, a one-on-one mentorship session. So you have to submit your interest, and I think how you're going to do that will be shared with you. But I think that's very, very essential. In all of the policy hackathons that I've participated in, the mentorship session give you a third-party opinion, not only third-party opinion, more professional opinion, how the way you're thinking about your ideas, should go, and some third-party things that you have to change. So I think you should maximize this opportunity. But more importantly, even though there are prizes to be won, the fact that you are working towards a policy that we as a team will definitely push forward. I'm sure when Eben was introducing the team members and all the stakeholders involved, there's a global network. Everybody is in a different part of the country. And we are going to ensure that the policy here won't just end as an hackathon, but it's going to be advocated for. And hopefully some things will be implemented. So you're all welcome once again. We are ready to support you. Feel free to message any of us on the WhatsApp group, via email if you have any questions. And I'm wishing you all a very happy and fun hackathon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenny. And Kenny did raise a good point that I missed my presentation. So very important to note that there are 2 mentor office hours. And that's why I think all of us should be friends with our schedule. The schedule, there's a PDF version on the Padlet, and we'll also share a PDF version in the WhatsApp group. feel free to check that out so you can know what you should be doing for each time. But these office hours are optional. However, I would encourage you to take advantage of them because you get the chance to ask experts about your idea, what you're working on, and for them to give you feedback on what you're doing. So, so we're going to share more information on these 2 hours. There's one tomorrow and there's one on Sunday morning for those who are interested. So I think they're like 2 hours each. You just jump in for 10, 15 minutes and ask someone to help look through your idea. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, Kenny. So yeah, let's take the next person. I don't know if is Comfort here or Chimbi or anybody else from the core team. If they're not here, then we can go to Charles. Can see that Oyi is here as well. Okay, Charles. Okay, looks like Comfort is here. Comfort, do you want to go ahead? Am I the only one who can hear her? It does look like she's speaking.
I can't hear you too, and it looks like she's
Okay,
speaking.
hi.
Oh, she's
Can you
back.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
okay, sure. Yeah, we can hear you now. Go on.
My network is not stable. Hi, everyone. I mean, all I have to say is I wish you all the best. Can you hear me?
Sorry, we couldn't hear most of what
Hello,
you said, but
can you
we heard that you said you're wishing us the best.
Yeah, I was saying that Eben and Penny has said a lot. In order not to repeat what they have said, I'm wishing them all the best as they hack.
Okay.
I mean, we are here to support them all along. A couple of them have private chatted me already. I've been, trying to help them navigate. So one of the things I did was to join the deal to provide support to them. So I'm wishing you as a team, division of labor, without the best. So congratulations of this hackathon. Have a good evening all.
Thank you so much, Confi. Thanks a lot for those as well. Okay, so let's move faster now. Like I said, Dr. Tayo will join us by 7 and it's 6:31. So let's say the next 10 minutes quickly to finish introductions, and then we have questions from the audience, whoever might have questions. So Charles, only let's just keep moving like that very fast. So I'm not stopping us. Charles, are you able to speak? If Charles is not able to speak, then we can go to Owen.
Okay, hi everyone, good evening. To the participants, welcome, and they've said it all. I just wish you guys all the best. It's comforting to know that you registered for this because you believe that your voice or your ideas are relevant and can be useful. So thank you for joining us, and have a great time. All the best.
Amazing. Thank you, Owen. Yes, next. Anybody else from the organizing team here? Can't see anyone else on the... Okay, Promise is here. Promise, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. I just want to encourage you all. It's great for you guys to be here to participate. And we do hope that at the end of this whole process, your ideas are going to form out of what we're going to be able to use, as Nigeria decides in 2023. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Promise. Charles, you want to go next?
Yes, good evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this process. We have put in a lot of work to make sure that we arrive at where we are today. So I think the most important thing for all of us is to make the best out of the process and enjoy it. It is not just a competition, it's an opportunity to learn and grow and be part of something very, very unique. This is the first of its kind. and I congratulate you for making it here. Well done and enjoy the process. Like I said, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charles. And I mean, you guys, Charles is also going to be one of the mentors during the mentor office hours, so you guys should take advantage of that. Lekon, do you want to go next so we can take questions where people might have questions? Okay, I guess Lekon has dropped off. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm here.
Okay, go on.
I'm here.
Okay, go on.
Just keep me from work. So I'm trying to, just
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All right. So guys, thank you for coming to this whole event, this virtual program. Then again, like what is said earlier, I mean, Charles, this is the first time such a thing would occur. I think in Nigeria, yeah, this should be the first time. Please, let's take it with seriousness. This would go one long way to to put us within that policy narrative, to be shakers, to be change makers. So please, let's take this with due seriousness. Like you said, so much effort has been put into this work. Some guys like Ebenezar has been going here and there, moving from Port Harcourt to Abuja. So many guys have been working virtually. Man, it's not easy. It's not easy. Shuttling work, shuttling this, jumping buses, jumping bikes, being on Zoom calls and those kind of stuff. So please, guys, let us take this with seriousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lekon. Okay, so at this point, we will then open it up to the participants for anyone who might have questions. Maybe the information we shared was just a lot. I know how we used to feel when we go to, the hackathons at MIT and Harvard, and everything just feels like a lot of information. So, okay, yeah, so I have Thank God's hands up. Yeah, so if anyone else have a question after Thank God, you can quickly raise your hand and speak. So Thank God, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Thank God, and I represent Team Iconic Group 7. The question I would love to ask is relating to our own work. We have to work on education and the access right. So I would love to know, are we, the education and access right, are we surrounding it around only tertiary institution, only tertiary education, or education holistically, right from nursery to university level? So I would love to know about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank God. That's an amazing question. Like I said earlier, we'll share further like a challenge tip sheet, just so you can see what the various areas your policy brief can cover. But just to answer you quickly, so is education holistically, even though ASU strikes seems to be like one of the things we're singling out, with education holistically. So funding, administration, everything about education that we think is not working currently in the country. And then if you do have any ideas around the ASU strike as well, you can do something about that. But it's education generally. Are you clear now?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're clear, okay, great, thanks. All right, any more questions? Treasure, okay, great. Treasure, please go ahead.
All right, hello everyone, good evening. My name is Treasure David, and I'm a part of the Smart Hacks group, although we're yet to register. Yes, nice. And yeah, and we are also under the unemployment and underemployment track of the hackathon. All right, so my question is basically on the more like the rating system, right? Everyone is doing, like, we have 4 different tracks and 4 different tracks, and from one track, which is like unemployment and unemployment, we have about 32 persons who are there. And out of that 32, we're having approximately, let's say like 2 to 4 groups from that hackathon, from that particular track, right? So my question is, how do we rate? Like, are we rating cross-rating, or we are rating by the track? And is it like you compare the quality of this person's work with the quality of this person's work, independent of their track? I want to know how you actually do that to be able to get the best, the first, second, third, and all of that. I'm interested in how we can even move it forward. So I want to know how to get to that point. So, thank you.
Amazing question. Let's take Frank quickly. Frank, you want to ask a question so I can respond to both of them together. Frank? Okay, it seems Frank is not close to the system. Maybe the network is bad. Okay, so just to respond to your question. Amazing.
I don't unmute myself.
Okay,
Good evening.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I don't know. I created this thing like the group in a hurry, added some few, a friend and a volunteer in my hospital. I don't know, we'll choose the name Health Surge. I don't know if we are to like create an app or something to support the idea of because we chose ending ASU strike, education and ending ASU strike. If this hacking thing is about we creating an app or just normal research stuff to back up our ideas on how to improve on education in Nigeria and ending the incessant strikes by ASU.
Amazing question. Okay. All right. So just to respond to the question, let me start with Frank's question. Good, very good question. You know that most times, in fact, the word hackathon, since we borrowed from the tech space, right? Because the tech space is often about meeting together, building a website or doing a logo or doing something similar. And it now has moved from just being in the tech space to things like policy and art and design and stuff like that, right? So for this policy hackathon, we don't expect you to build an app. However, if an app is your idea to solve the challenge of ASU strikes, describe the app in your policy memo, right? So the policy memo is what we're expecting you to submit. That's the product. And that's what policymakers would understand, right? Because that's the language that they can speak. So that's what we're expecting you to write, not to do an app. However, if you want to take it forward and feel like an app is the next step for you, sure thing. We don't want to limit anybody's idea. But what we just expect from you to submit that policy brief on Sunday, PDF that is what's less than or at least 8,000 words, or at most rather 8,000 words for the judges to review. And then on Treasurer's question, your question is very good. So we've also looked at this, and that's why we designed a rubric that we're using to evaluate ideas. So we're evaluating ideas based on the tracks and also across tracks. So across tracks based on the quality of the ideas and the quality of the memos and how the data analysis is done. And then we're going to have teams from the various tracks make up that top 10 based on the judges' thoughts. And then that top 10 will then have to face the finals judges, which are the people who you saw on the screen, presenting to them about your ideas. So they would then choose who the top 3 are based on who presents to them best, or who has the idea, who is workable. Some ideas might seem very far from reality, right? So which person's idea is more practical, more workable, and stuff like that. So don't worry. There's a rubric. There's a full rubric that's designed to evaluate this. Yeah, just focus on making sure that for each section of your policy memo, the executive summary, the analysis and context, which you have data, your recommendations are clearly written. You can even talk about next steps. What can you do next? Imagine that you're the policymaker. What can the person do next to begin to activate this idea? So make it very practical. If I could give any tip, yeah. Okay, so there's a question here on researching how education has been done. Yeah, so we're not saying you have to bring your idea from another country. We're saying that can be something you can also do, right? It's open. So feel free to look for ideas from different places. So we're saying it doesn't necessarily have to be a new idea. It could just be an idea we're not doing in Nigeria. right? And saying that you think this will work best for our own context, and then using data and logic to explain that further in your policy memo. So there's no one size fits all. Just to give you an example, there's no one size fits all. It's open. I mean, if Kenny can even speak about our first hackathon, right? What did we write on? Can you guys remember? So the first hackathon, I think that was the Harvard Policy Hackathon, I think. No, it was a COVID-19 Policy Hackathon.
Yeah, it was a COVID-19 hack, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we look at education also, virtual education system and the like. So there are a lot of couple ideas really, and as Eben said, you have just 3 days or 2 days to do a lot of stuff. So it's more about thinking, and policy also not something that you also want to be you can implement it obviously, but you also you are recommending stuff for agencies or private and public. All these books that are at the back of your mind. So it's not something like, it's a very broad stuff for people to evaluate. So yeah, a lot of ideas here and there, but you have to limit it down with research. I think that going through those videos that was done would be very, very helpful, in my opinion. The Saturday's policy sessions will be very, very helpful for whatever you guys want to do. And we're also happy to answer your questions as time goes on. Even are you there? I'm not sure if it's my network that went off or something. Can anyone hear me? Okay, yeah, Treasure, I can see, so you can hear me. I guess we lost Eben for a while.
Yeah, so as I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so that's okay. Well, Eben is back now.
He's back.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yes, I'm back. Thanks. Sorry, my network.
Yeah, it's fine. These are some of the things to work on the hackathon.
Exactly. So these are some of the issues that we obviously need to be responding to. Okay, so we have 15 minutes before Dr. Tyre joins us. I'm just sending a message on WhatsApp is ready. So anyone who has any more questions, and as Comfort said earlier, we're all in the WhatsApp group. Organizing team members are there, team members are there. Everybody's there in the WhatsApp group. So feel free to share any questions you might have, or to private chat us, or to send an email or reply to any of the emails that we've sent. We're all waiting to see how we can support you to come up with ideas. Because again, our mantra, is that young this country is facing, and we think that a good way to demonstrate that is through things like this. So if we don't support you to show that, what is policy is all about, really, sounds like we're just wasting our time. So we need to work with you, and we are happy that most of you have taken this whole thing up. Our registrations were close to 140 people, so I'm sure we're still expecting a few more people to join us for tomorrow's session and all that. So just say thank you. Okay, he's been muted. Okay, so just to let you guys know that we're all in this together, and we hope that we can all come up. Beyond competition, we hope that we can all come up with very solid ideas that will be useful to this country. Because really, we keep saying we are the future. What's the way to show that you're the future? By actually beginning to events. Preparation doesn't start when you become something, it starts before you get there. Usain Bolt and Toby Amusan and the rest of them, they'll tell you that they've been doing hours and years of jumping the hurdles and breaking the time. So what you see at the Commonwealth Games is just like a show of the effort that's gone into it. So I think that if we can begin to show and practice and build our minds, especially in the policy-related way, I think that we can then have hope of good leadership in this country, because that's what this country really needs. Yeah. So I'll stop babbling now. If anyone has any more questions, we can take that. Before Dr. Tyre comes in, I can ask him to even come in earlier since he's ready. So we can just give the next 7 minutes-ish to just wait for anyone that might have any proper question, and then our keynote speaker will join us. And also just to mention that, so for the plenary sessions, we have other people who might not be in the hackathon taking part in the plenary sessions, because we sent the information for the plenary sessions to more than 600 people. So there might be a lot more people who might come in for the plenary sessions, but the hackathon itself is for you guys who are on the WhatsApp group. Yeah, I just thought to mention that.
I think Treasure have a question.
Hand up.
Yeah.
Or is this an old?
Yeah, my hand is up. I want to
go on.
confirm.
Go on, Trevor.
Sorry. Okay, so after now, because I'm sure most persons who are not in this hackathon, who are not here in the this opening section, most likely will need to hear what was said in this opening section. So I want to suggest that if it's okay, we could maybe extract the video, because I observed it was recorded, or like shrink it and then maybe put it on a drive or something, and then send a link as a mail, right, to everyone, so that we can also make reference to it, because I would love to listen to it. Thank you. Just a suggestion.
Fantastic idea, Treasure. Wonderful. Yeah, that's already in the works. I mean, like Lakon said, the organizing team has been taking up and down. So that's definitely something that has been, that's why we're recording the session. And we plan to reduce the size and put on YouTube, even in a private link or something for people to be able to listen. So yeah, so that's definitely in the works. And we'll also give a quick summary of the points as well raised, and we share that on the WhatsApp group. Yeah. Daniel, you came in after we finished introductions. You want to say something quickly?
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and so good to be here with you all. My name is Daniel Stephen, and thank you, Ebenezar, for